And welcome to Richmond Business Babes here on WRWK 93.9 FM The Work. My name is Lisa Linnell. I am your host, and with me is a remarkable Ron, my producer. This is our first show from remotely from our home. So normally we're in the station. And I am so happy to say that we are going to focus on profiting from the power of love, how entrepreneur couples succeed in mixing business and pleasure together. This is part 2. And we have realtors Alex and Lauren Glazer of the Glazer Group. Yeah. So how are you? Welcome to Richmond Business Babes.
Thank you for having us. We're doing well today.
Thank you for hanging in there with our audio situation, but we are glad that you're here. And Richmond Business Babes is going to focus on couples who work together and who are living together. You guys are married, so that's even more intense, right? So, before we get started, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what I researched here. Went online, and this is historical, I think. They did a 5-year study. This is an article on entrepreneur.com, The Science Behind Working with Your Spouse by John Rapton. They did a 5-year study. 5 years it took them, 5,000 couples. Guess what they figured out? Your spouse's personality affects your career. You think it took 5 years to figure that out? I mean, really? So I am going to ask you to tell me, how did you meet each other?
I will start. It's kind of a funny story. Alex's dad was my dentist. And I guess I just took such great care of my teeth that he knew that I would take great care of his son. So that's kind of how it all started. But gosh, it seems like many years ago. 2000, I don't even remember.
2009 when we started dating.
Yeah.
So Alex's dad said, "Have I got a girl for you? She flosses every night religiously. You know, she's going to make a great wife." And that's history.
I wish he didn't hype me up so much, but yeah.
Well, that's nice. Well, so walk us down your entrepreneurial journey. And I know that Lauren Glazer and Alex Glazer, you're with Long and Foster, but you're your own group, right?
Correct.
So how does that work?
So our brokerage, it's just kind of the big umbrella, but every realtor is an independent contractor. We all pretty much work for ourselves. So we just have kind of formed our own little business within the Long and Foster umbrella. Less paperwork and red tape for us, but still runs just the same. So right as I was graduating college, Alex had graduated ahead of me and decided to get into real estate. And after a couple of years, we were just about to get married and he needed help. And I quit my job about 6 months before we got married to go work for him. We knew it'd be really good or really bad, and we'd find out very quickly, but we haven't looked back. It's just
obviously you kept your plans of getting married, so that didn't break anything up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you're successful realtors now. Now, do you also hold a real estate license as well, Lauren?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so that's excellent. And how many people are in your group altogether?
As far as agents, so Alex handles listings. We have 2 buyers specialists, another one that's kind of coming on, and then a handful of admin staff and videographers, things like that.
That's a lot of people.
That's still considered a small group for real estate. There's some that have much more. So
we chose to bring some of our marketing in-house because, I don't know, we just wanted more control over it, how it was done. So we have more staff where other groups may have more realtors and then outsource that type of stuff. So that's one of the cool things with real estate is like you can do whatever you want with it in terms of like how you approach it and present yourself to the world. And that's what we've done. We've really like embraced things that we care about, like giving back to every house we sell to Richmond Animal League. So it's just like the process of helping clients is still the same, but we could put our own like spin on it.
Yeah, so when I came in to work with Alex, it was just the two of us, and I got licensed and started to sell. And then as we kind of got bigger, I realized that I was more valuable kind of behind the scenes. So I'm kind of, I kind of oversee it all without
well, there's so
selling
much
directly as
with real estate, so much administrative and so much paperwork and everything else. And it's interesting that you bring that up, Lauren, because the articles I've been reading and the research I've been doing say that is one of the 6 keys to success when you're a couple and you're in business together, is to know your own distinct, specialty areas and not to overlap that. So Alex, I'm assuming that you are the front man, so to speak. That's a bad word. I don't know.
No, team leader.
He's the face of the business.
The face of the business.
I'm the brains and the boss of the business.
There you go. Okay.
The brains and the beauty and the boss.
I say it all the time. A lot of people ask, how could we work together? They could never work with their spouse, but I think it's possible because we have very different roles. We do just completely different things. We're not stepping on each other's toes, but we can hold each other accountable. And that's
I'm okay when she yells at me for and sometimes I'll see something that she's supposed to do and I'll start doing it and she'll yell at me to stop, and I'm okay with that. I don't take it personally.
That's good. That's great. Well, so now what year did you actually get married?
2013.
2013, and you were already working together 6 months prior.
Yep, I started working with him in maybe March of 2013, and then we got married in September of 2013.
Okay. And so what were some of the key moments in your entrepreneurial journey, into real estate? Were you always with Long and Foster, both of you, or was that a decision that, had to be made later on after you were married? And talk to us about this entrepreneurial journey. And, was there ever friction points where she yelled at you, like you said? I mean, you said it. I didn't say it. So,
I don't think there was any big friction points. We're usually on the same page. I was at Coldwell Banker for my first 7 years of my career. And then a couple years ago, for a variety of reasons,
we made the
decision to switch to Long and Foster. And that may be a long, boring story that unless you're a realtor, you wouldn't understand or care about.
It was a big decision.
What were the highlights of? Because I am curious. And just so you know, in New Jersey, I was a realtor with Coldwell Banker for about a year, and the only house I ever sold was my own, and that was the extent of my real estate journey. But yeah, no, I would like to hear the thought, the decision making. You would obviously have to be on the same page. So was that difficult to?
When we started at Coldwell Banker and she came on, she was new, didn't really understand the business, and I was perfectly fine at Coldwell Banker at that point, and I still love that whole office. It was tough because it was like family, but ultimately it's a business decision, and we were growing, and Long and Foster had a special team space and had a lot of extra perks and benefits that they offered that just made sense for us to take advantage of. Yeah.
So at our old brokerage, we loved everybody there. It was a really tough decision because we were friends. It was emotional. It wasn't anything personal. Mm-hmm. And it's sometimes it's hard to, put your business over those relationships. Mm-hmm. But I think it helped that we had each other. If it was just one of us on our own, I think it would be much harder to make the leap to a new brokerage. But we kind of knew how we functioned and had the support of one another, and made it. It wasn't easy, but I think we're both glad that we did it.
And was it hard selecting Long and Foster versus a different company?
Well, I'm the very analytical researcher. And I researched or spoke with every brokerage in town I would ever consider. And for a variety of reasons, Long and Foster kind of worked its way to the top of our list. And it was closest to our house. They loved our dogs, just some random stuff that we really
that's not analytical, Alex, okay?
Well, they were also building a brand new space, so we got to go into just a brand new building, office
really
never been used
location.
Before. So obviously,
that's
to
nice.
The woman and me, that's just
Where is your location?
It is at the Libyan Grove area. We are located on Grove Avenue, right? Our office is actually right where the West Hampton Theater used to be.
Oh, nice. Very nice. I like that area very much. So I've got Lauren Glazer and Alex Glazer, husband and wife teams with the Glazer Group with Long and Foster. And I'm going to go down tip number 2. Well, tip number 1, create a written contract with your spouse. Did you guys do that?
I would say
That was pretty
I
extreme.
would say our vows were our written contract.
Oh, okay. There you
That
go.
wasn't like businessy. That was just like personally, but yeah.
Yeah, no, we just kind of have grown organically, and I think we trust each other, and we both have very different strengths. You know, he's analytical. I trust my gut with things. So there's just certain decisions that one person might outweigh the other, but we understand why.
And you know, this is your part 2 of this 3-part a show on Valentine's, because it's Valentine's month, and couples in love and couples who are in business together like you are both. And the other 2 couples that I spoke to last week, which was Polly and Doug White of the Gather co-work space.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then also Fraser and Melissa McCoo of Pomona. It's like a cafe in Churchill with the plants and everything.
I've
Yeah,
heard,
Yeah, they both said the same thing, that if you don't have that level of trust and you don't have the different strengths and you're overstepping your boundaries, you know, it's just not going to work. So you're on target. Now, the other thing when I did this research was daily check-ins, schedule us time and schedule me time. Do you guys do that?
Yes, I think that it's definitely gotten a little tougher. The lines have probably blurred a little since COVID hit, and we can't really leave the house and go do date night and stuff. So it's easy to just kind of keep working, and, you know, going from upstairs to downstairs isn't really like that, like, you know, a nice romantic date. But I definitely think that that's important to have that time.
We make a point of it, but it's not as scheduled. So I don't know how regular it really is, but I know on our anniversary, like, I made a point to like take her out, and we did a picnic because, you know, it was warming up. We're outside, and it was
that's romantic, Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Where did you go?
Hollywood Cemetery.
Oh,
If
okay.
you've ever been,
It's beautiful. It is. It's
great
beautiful.
views.
Overlook
Yeah.
over the river.
Oh no, that's very nice. I
took
like
her to
walking
the
through
cemetery.
the
You don't
cemetery.
know. It could sound
There's
weird.
no future, darling. No, but it's funny that you should mention that, because 2 thoughts come to mind. First of all, my husband and I always like walking through cemeteries, which sounds very creepy, but it's interesting to read the tombstones, you know, especially the old ones. And so when our kids were little, we took them to Hollywood Cemetery, and it was almost closing time, and then my daughter and I had to use the restroom, so they let us into like not the mausoleum, but like an office or whatever, and then they locked us in. So we were locked into I'm going to say mausoleum, but it wasn't a mausoleum, but it was like the offices of Hollywood Cemetery. And then I guess my husband had to find the groundskeeper to like get us out or so. It was just really weird. But anyway, no, I think cemeteries are beautiful. So that was romantic. I like that. Just now, were you married on October 31st?
No.
Not that there's anything wrong with that date, but when you put the 2 together, you know, then we're going out on a limb a little bit there. But that's good. So you know what I thought you were going to say, Alex? We had a picnic, and when I said where, I thought you were going to say our backyard. I didn't do that.
No.
So what is it like for your employees to work with you as a couple? Is that sometimes challenging, or they, because what last week, one of the, I think it was Melissa McCoo of Pomona, yeah, plant, said that they liked having employees that were used to working with husbands and wives. Like, so they, like, it wasn't, you know, weird to them. Does that matter or not? When you,
I never thought of it. I think it's a pretty clear that, like, I'm the boss and then she's my boss, and everyone, like, on a real estate's an interesting business. I don't think it's very like, I don't want to say normal, but it's just different from a lot of other businesses. I'm sure there's times, and I don't know if they would tell us that they were like, oh boy, like if we start like bickering about something in front of them. But for the most part, I feel like we've got a pretty good relationship, and I hope it doesn't matter to our employees, good or bad. Like,
I would agree. I think that I think they see us as, he said one than the other, but I think they see us as equal, and or wouldn't go to one over the other for any specific advice necessarily. And I think we kind of bring more to the table as a husband and wife because they're different experiences, different ways of seeing things. Lots of problems erupt in the real estate world every day. So, always good to have multiple opinions on how to smooth things out.
Well, it's really coming across very clearly that you're very united force and very much in love, and obviously that's contributed to your success as well. So I'm happy about that for you both.
Thank you.
Yeah. So walk us through a typical day and like what it's like. And there probably is no typical day in real estate. But
before COVID or since COVID?
Ooh, yeah. I'll let you decide, or both maybe.
So I think in the mornings we'll wake up and have some coffee, take the dogs for a walk, and then we have a group meeting.
Now,
a group meeting with our
before,
staff. It's over like Zoom or something. It used to be in person, just so everybody's on the same page. We kind of see what all our team is doing for the day, and then he'll start making phone calls and going on appointments, and then I am following up with emails and submitting paperwork and answering the phone and checking on our employees, making sure they're doing what needs to be done. And then somewhere towards the end of the day, we kind of catch up again, and I tell him who he needs to call, and he'll let me know if he needs my help with anything, and truck along for a few more hours, and then relax on the couch and do not talk about real estate.
That's got to be hard.
It's harder for him. I've made it a point, especially since COVID hit, that at a certain time of the evening, I'm done. I want to watch a show, and I'll talk about it tomorrow. But I think that's healthy to have a balance. You can't let it consume your life.
Yeah, I'm sure that is important. And how do you turn off then, Alex? Like if you just are dying to tell her about a client or a potential,
So I don't know if I can turn it off. It's more of her telling me to shut up. And I think that's one of the reasons we do work well as married and in business is that she knows, how to turn it off. I can answer. She just tells me to shut up, and then I listen. And
I say it nicer than that, but I pretty much just say,
she's like,
we'll talk about it
tomorrow. I'm like, oh yes, I forgot. I don't know. I can just keep going forever. So
yeah,
it's good that she helps me, forces me to stop.
And it is hard. I mean, last night I was having difficulty sleeping, and I was turning over this show in my mind, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Shut it off, and I was telling Ron that there's a couple other shows in the works that I want to talk to him about. But anyway, it's hard to turn things off because you have a passion about it. So
yeah.
But then do you say, okay, no problem, Lauren, and then you watch like a real estate show on TV, like my life?
That's one thing I've never done, and I don't think either of us have, is HGTV is never on our house.
Oh, okay.
You live it, you don't want to see it also because it's also very manufactured and not how real life is.
Oh,
so it's just not appealing to me.
That's true. And if we ever, one of us is, I say off the clock, even though we're never off the clock. It's just easy to just, instead of forgetting, we'll just shoot an email over to the one or the other of what we were thinking. So the next day when, say, I check my email, I can be like, oh, you wanted to discuss this with me, and we can talk about it. So it never kind of gets forgotten. We just follow up with it the next day.
That's excellent. That seems like you have a schedule and a formula, but it's really intuitive. It's not, it's not written out, or it's just a flow that works.
Yeah, I think it's been a lot of kind of trial and error of what works and what doesn't work, and we've just kind of adapted to whatever's worked for us.
That's
and I couldn't even tell you why or what the rhyme or reason is behind certain things. It just
well, that kind of leads me to my next question, Lauren. Glazer of the Glazer Group with Long and Foster, is that what advice would you give to other couples who maybe are considering going down the real estate path together? Like maybe one is a realtor, the other one's thinking about joining and joining forces. And I mean, what would you say maybe not to do, or the turning off, stopping talking at the end of the night and everything? I get that, but anything else that comes to mind that you learned the hard way, so to speak?
I wouldn't say the hard way. I think I got very lucky in this sense, but he is a very patient teacher.
Aww.
So real estate's it took me probably a good 3 months before I even felt like I kind of had a grasp on things. And he was just so patient and just walked me through it. And I think that really helped.
Because he loves you.
Right. I'm not that kind of person. I just am not. But that was very valuable. And
I would say going into it with the expectations that it's great if it works out, but it's okay if it doesn't.
I love that.
Because like trying to force it to work when it's not, I imagine would put a strain on the business and the relationship.
Yes.
And just go into it with like no expectations, hoping for the best, but just being okay. Like, hey, like it may not be a perfect fit for everyone to do together, or
that's very wise.
You need to do it differently than how we did because your relationship is different than me and Lauren's. Like, I don't think it's a one size fits all solution.
I agree.
But you're saying to put the relationship obviously ahead of the quest for success in real estate.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. I like
I'd
that.
rather be broke with Lauren than like successful and then like we're not together anymore. Like that's not why I'm doing any of this. So
you guys are so romantic. You're the person for my Valentine's Day show. That's great. Well, I know that you're very busy, and I know that you probably have a zillion to-do list things to do. So I'm going to say thank you for being on Richmond Business Babes. And also, before I let you go, what is the contact information in case anybody listening would like to reach you regarding their real estate needs?
Of course.
So our website is Alex Sells Richmond, because I started it before Lauren joined me. Otherwise, it would have been Alex and Lauren. AlexSellsRichmond.com, or just if you Google our names, we're very easy to find. But it's Glazer with an S. Everyone always messes that up. So Glaser. That's the best way to find us because all of our other contact info is there. And then we also run, I don't know if you can see it, a side, I don't want to call it a business, but it's
Why Richmond is awesome.
We promote Richmond as part of our business.
And for those who are just listening on the radio on WRWK 93.9 FM, Alex Glazer of the Glazer Group has a t-shirt that says why Richmond is awesome.
Yeah,
so why is Richmond awesome, Alex?
Too many reasons to count.
But like for our social media, like how we present ourselves to the public, we just wanted to like kind of build community and share why we loved it. Because even as someone like we both grew up here, like I still feel like I've only experienced like 10% of Richmond, and it's been 35 years. Like there's a lot to do and see, and it's always changing.
Yeah.
So like not only just me and Lauren, but our whole team, we like on Instagram, and we're starting to get into like TikTok, YouTube, and there's a website. We just promote things that we think are awesome about Richmond. We make videos about them. And
we actually, when COVID hit, we started hosting virtual trivia on Thursday nights at 7:30.
So that's our big night tonight.
But I have a separate co-host, but typically you'll get to see us banter and be married selves. If anybody likes free trivia, we give out local prizes, free to join. It's very fun every Thursday. So
I am so glad you're telling us about that.
Of course. I hope some of you guys join us.
Tonight is Galentine's themed, so someone else is co-hosting with Lauren tonight for the first time, so it should be fun.
All right. Well, it's really been great for you guys to come on. I thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us here on Richmond Business Babes, and all the best to you, Alex and Lauren Glazer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.